Hey guys, how's it going? So we're finally doing another Ubase live stream. It's kind of taken a little while to get this one started, so I'm hoping people will join up. I had to restart the phone. I had to move some things around. I'm still having to orient the camera a little bit so that I can actually get the base in the shot. And yes, I have a bicycle in my back seat. Sometimes I keep it there just to get me in the habit of riding more. But I guess I'm going to start this live stream the same way I start most of them, which is playing a little song that I wrote called Green Tea. So here we go. All right, I want to thank you all for hanging out and watching the live stream. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I'll try to open the door to, well, the window, I guess it is, to let a little bit of air come through, although you might hear some cars drive by. I found that doing the live stream outside has worked better quality-wise, so I'm just keeping it going that way. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and let me know in the chat. And if you just want to say hi, you're welcome to just say hi in the chat as well. So this week, as you probably know, if you have gone to my channel, I released a video where I was playing a Thundercat song called Them Changes. So basically with that one, I did a two-handed tapping version, and then I realized after the fact that a whole bunch of other people have also done a two-handed tapping version, and mine is like this much different from those, but it has the tutorial with it. So if you're wanting to learn how to play a version of Thundercats Them Changes that you can play on 4-string bass instead of having to play on a 6-string, then that's an option. I might really like briefly talk about that real quick, but that video is up, so you can watch that one if you want more on that. But basically, the part that I was doing is almost exactly like one of the bass parts. It's just that it's on a 6-string bass, so he's got the freedom of plucking with one hand and kind of playing multiple things on the other without like being limited by the range. While on a bass ukulele, we need the notes that would be over here. We do still have those notes that would be on a string below this one that are still here. They just all end up here. So basically what I was doing a B major 7 chord, and it's cool. You can kind of split it up in 2 groupings of fifths. So the root of the chord is a B. So I was playing that up here, which is the 7th fret. If you can't quite see the end of the headstock, it's the 7th fret. And then on the E string, and then the 9th fret on the A string. So that kind of creates kind of a power chord shape, right? A root and a fifth. And then up here, we're playing the third of the chord, which happens to be a D sharp. So see, that would be D, the 12th fret, and then D sharp right there. And then we're playing a fifth away from that, and we end up with a sharp right there. You might be like, why am I not calling it a B flat? And that's because we're building a B major chord, so we already have a B in the chord. We don't want to repeat the name of the letter in the same chord like that. So we got B, F sharp, which is its fifth, D sharp, A sharp. And then the pattern that he's doing, he was plucking them. He was going like, so playing those two individually and playing these two at the same time. So, and even though this is acoustic, you can kind of still do tapping. On an acoustic instrument, sometimes you can still hear the sound from the other side of the strings. So I'm trying to mute a little bit more than I would on the on when it's plugged in, or if it was an electric bass. So there's our B major. Then we come down here, and that's going to be a G minor chord that we're doing, G minor 7, I should say. And it's the same idea. You're playing the root here, the fifth there. It happens to be the third here, and the fifth there. So if we made a G major, we would just have these two fingers up 1 fret from there, because the third would be higher and the 7th would be higher. So that'd be a G major, and that's a G minor 7. Okay. Getting a little theory heavy for you. But anyway, that's kind of what I was doing. So I'm not going to go through the whole entire song, but it's like basically that pattern, and it moves those chords around. So if you're interested in that, there's a full video that I released earlier today on that song. But if there's anything that you would like to hear, or any questions that you have about the bass ukulele, let me know in the chat. And as long as the chat is working, then I'll be able to answer your question, or just say hi back if there's something that you'd like answered, or if you just like a greeting. But I want to thank you guys for watching. So I think last week I was talking about a little like finger picking sort of thing you could do with chords. So that's using like an open string, open A string usually, and then kind of doing chord shapes on here. And then I've also done a video a long time ago where I talked about doing chords that are called tenths. And tenths are what I use a lot in green tea. So basically what I was doing there, I'm playing the root down here, and then the third would be a B note. So this is a G. The third would be a B note. I'm just taking that note up the octave, and a third up the octave can also be called a tenth. So if I play the root down here, rather than there, down here, and then the third of the chord way up here, we call those tenths because there's an octave separating them. Okay. If you have any questions about why something is called something, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer it for you. If that explanation didn't do so well, it comes from scales if you're not familiar with intervals. Okay. So that's about it for that. And then if you have any other questions about the Thundercat song, let me know. But I have a feeling I might not. So I'm just gonna play something else real quick. And I think I'm just gonna try to make something up in the key of C. So the challenge here is there are less open strings that work with the key of C. I mean, I have an open G. So I guess I could make a song built out of that if I wanted to. But I think I'll do a similar thing where I'm kind of like finger picking like I was last week. But now I'm just going to use the notes of C major and kind of make a little song out of it. So that's using a little bit of finger picking to try to create a little song. All right. So we've got Andrew from Rock Class 101 hanging out in the audience, and he wants to hear Freebird. I don't think he actually wants to hear Freebird, but you shouldn't request Freebird, I guess, if that's the case. Okay. So I'm gonna figure out how to play a tapping version of Freebird as close as I can on the spot. What was it? I can't quite get that. It's a hard one to just do on the spot, though. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna skip over all the other part. We'll see if I can do it. I don't know. That's about all you get on Freebird on Ubase, just out of the blue. That's what I'm saying. Be sorry you requested that, because it's not gonna be great. But yeah, there are a variety of things that you could do. If you want to do it as a duet, I think it would be a little bit easier. But basically what I was trying to do there didn't come on the spot. I can't always improvise things without trying, you know, to work it out first. But basically I had a couple of options, right? So first I could have just started by doing the guitar part. So I could do like a G major chord down here. Then I believe a D with an F sharp in the bass. And then an E minor. And then of course I could do an F chord, then a C chord. This is just the chord progression, and I'm basically just using, and then a D major chord. So basically I'm just using shapes that I know to kind of work through a chord progression that I know on a different instrument already. So it was G, D with an F sharp in the bass, then E minor, then you have an F major chord going to a C major chord, going to a D major as well. And that's the verse progression. So that's all it is for Freebird, is you're just kind of doing something with that. Right? And so then after that, I was like, oh, well, I can't do that and the melody at the same time. You know, the... something like that, right? So that's like the melody. So I was trying to pull that out of my butt while trying to play the root notes of the chords. So that was like... right? And then we have an F chord there. I accidentally played a C, I think, when we were doing it before. And there's your C. And there's your D. And then you go back to the top. So that was one way of doing it, was doing the two-handed tapping. Right? And then the other way to do it, of course, is to try to do like a finger-picked thing where I'm not playing all of the notes of the chord, but I am playing the melody on the G string while trying to do at least the root note and maybe an extra one here and there. Or the bass note, I should say. And then you end up with the C there. Right? So that's interesting. What I just did there, if I had thought that right on the spot, that would have been a good way if somebody just like requests a song out of the blue and you happen to know the chords and maybe you've tried to dabble with the guitar part or something. You can kind of piece those things together. And then, of course, I would have to know the verse melody a little bit better in order to kind of come up with a verse part. But yeah, that's kind of like on the spot arranging for you. So normally when I come up with a arrangement of a song, I kind of start by just doing that and then go, hey, this kind of actually fits on the instrument. Okay, so what can I do to make it sound full or sound more interesting? Is tapping a better option? What is it? Right? So is it tapping a better option, or is it better to do something with finger picking? And I think in this case, I felt better with the finger picking. Right, so that's kind of what I would do there. And okay, so that's the first part. Then you go into the verse. So that's my dumbed down version of the verse melody. Obviously, if I were going to make an arrangement on this and post it on the site or something, post it on YouTube, I would have to work out the details of the melody and not just sort of wing it. If I stay here with you, girl, right? Something like that. See, I don't know the melody well enough to kind of make that work, but that's what I would do, is I would pick the melody out and then figure out what octave I can actually play the entire melody in. And then another option is occasionally I could use harmonics to hit notes that if I run out of frets, I still have some notes that I could play this way. So when I'm playing harmonics, I'm plucking very close to the bridge. And so, but I can use those for melody notes that are above this one. Let's see. I guess I could use that harmonic for that one. So harmonics are just certain places on the string where if you touch really lightly, instead of like pushing down on a note, you're just touching the string really lightly in a certain place and then plucking the string like normal with the other hand. There are certain places where a note will kind of ring out like a bell. And if you don't know about those, they're kind of fun to use. We don't use them in a whole lot of bass lines, but it's still cool to know that they're there on the instrument. And like I said, they don't work everywhere. If I do it there, there's not really much of one right there. But if I do it here, there is one. So just kind of knowing that would help if you're trying to arrange a song like I was just talking about. I don't know why I'm using that as an example. I know that Andrew from Rock Class 101, if you're not familiar with Rock Class 101, it's a ukulele website where you can learn how to do a lot of chord melodies and things. So it's kind of the same thing, like what I'm describing, what I'm doing on the bass, where I'm taking the melody and I'm taking chords and just deciding how to play them all at the same time. That's kind of the basis for a lot of stuff on Andrew's site on ukulele as well. But it's also what I like to do on my personal stuff too, so. Right. Okay. So then the hardest part, I think, of that song would be, what would I do for the solo at the end? Because the solo at the end has a G chord going to a B flat, going to a C. And what I'd probably do for that, and for those just joining, we're talking about Freebird just for kicks. If I were going to play that part and then solo over it, I'd probably want to use a loop pedal at that point. I probably wouldn't be going. Right, I'm trying to go. Like, that just sounds awful, right? So I'd probably loop the. Some version of that, which should probably have to stay the same underneath throughout, because it's just too hard to kind of keep deleting loops, keep creating new loops. So I would just loop something like that. And basically what I would do is play the bass line probably first. And loop that, right? So that's the simplest version of the bass line I could do. And then I might decide not to, but I might loop power chords over that. And the reason I wouldn't loop those necessarily might be because if when I'm soloing, that might get in the same range as where I'm playing, just because of the lack of notes on the U bass. So what I would probably end up doing there is either do them really quietly, or I would just not do that guitar part really at all and just do an octave up from the bass line. And then after that, I just solo on top of it. Right, and so I'd probably just make up the solo, to be honest, because that solo would just be probably too much of a hassle to try to play on an instrument with the range of a U bass, because the guitar has more range. You can go higher up and you can go lower. So it just kind of makes sense to maybe not have everything get really muddy and play stuff down low. I'd probably be limited to up here. And I'd probably use tapping and some other things that maybe aren't used in the original Freebird solo, just to fill out the sound a little bit. Okay, well, that's probably enough on Freebird. I think that's what I would do if I were going to make an arrangement of it. However, I don't think I'd be happy with the results of the arrangement. Just being the limitations of the instrument would make it kind of a less exciting version of the song. So I'd probably choose not to make that one entirely. But that's how I would do it. So thank you, Andrew, for your request. Hopefully you enjoyed that I gave it a shot. I don't know. It's kind of fun trying. So once again, if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the chat. What is love, baby? Oh, that's funny. Okay, so that one, I don't know the chords well enough. I'd have to look up the chords and all that, and if I were trying to do that while on the live stream, it would probably bump me off the live stream. So gonna have to wait on that one. But that one would probably be a little bit easier than Freebird to make an arrangement of. So yeah, probably not doing What Is Love, because once again, unless you want to give me the chords in the chat, I don't know them. And looking it up would probably knock me off the chat. So, cool. Oh, there's a bug in the car, and it's a wasp. Maybe it'll fly out on its own. Haha. All right, well, I don't see it now, so maybe it made its way out. But for a second there was a wasp in the car. That's cool. So now I'm just doing some senseless slap stuff. I think we've already talked about slap a lot on here. If you're having issues with slap, most of the time it's that people's thumbs kind of stick to the string just barely too long. So you either end up with a lot of overtones happening, or you end up just muting the note that you're trying to play. So so basically, to keep it from muting the string, it's just about getting that bounce. And I think for me, one of the secrets is when I'm playing, I'm not actually trying to like make my thumb hit the string. I'm sort of trying to stop my hand about a centimeter away from the string, and just the momentum, because my thumb is loose, will carry the thumb into the string. Kind of like if you watch the, you know, the whole crash tests they do, where it's like the car hits the wall, but then the crash test dummy is still moving after the fact. So basically, if you try to stop your hand a centimeter away from the string, your thumb will still hit the string, but then it'll bounce all the way back to where it was rather than staying on the string slightly too long. So that might be a way to help you get the bounce. And then you just got to practice it on all the strings. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys give me some parameters basically, but I'm not gonna do a cover right now. I want to create a song, so I want someone to give me a style, and then I want someone else to give me a key. And if it's the same person, that's okay too. But style, key, and yeah. So like, just give me a genre that you'd like to hear, and then in what key. And just let me know that in the chat. Oh my gosh, Andrew is just on a roll there. Those are songs I never learned because I never really wanted to learn them. But yeah, if you have a genre and a key, then I will do my best for that. Rap and C sharp. Major or minor? C sharp major? Rap and C sharp major would be kind of weird. In case you didn't know it, Andrew from Rock Class likes to troll. I'm not sure how I do a major rap. Let me think of songs that actually are major that have rap. I know there are some. That doesn't really sound like a rap tune, does it? Rap and major is tough. I may choose to do C sharp minor just to kind of like make it more interesting. So rap beats usually have kind of like some sort of rhythm with the bass drum, and then they have hi-hats that are kind of continuous, or that have that interesting triplet rhythms or something. So let me think for a second. This is the widest sounding thing ever. Funk's easier. Yeah, C sharp made that kind of tricky. But yeah, I was trying to just incorporate that little descending walking line and then figure out which chord progression I was matching it to. So I think I was doing like C major, then C major, or C7 after that. Then I was just doing the F sharp major and first inversion. And then probably I was thinking about that one as, let's see, was I thinking about it F sharp minor, I guess? And then going to G sharp. So that's what I get for staying in the key of C sharp and trying to turn that into a funk song. But yeah, that's basically what I was doing. Cool. All right. So yeah, so that's kind of fun. Does anybody have any questions that are like Cubase related, that just want to know maybe something about the string, something about how to play, or a question about a bass line that I might be able to help you guys with? So just let me know. I guess now I'll do something with a little bit of slap bass, since slap bass is also funky. I'll probably do the key of G, just because G's a pretty, I don't know, a standard key to just kind of go to. All right. Well, guys, it's kind of warm out here today, and I'm kind of wearing out a little bit. So I want to thank y'all for hanging out, but I'm just going to call it for today. It seems like there's not really, I don't know if it's a connection issue or if there's just, if it's just because it's the first of the month or something, but I noticed there aren't as many people watching, so I think I'm gonna try this another time and just kind of let this one go. But thanks for hanging out, and I hope you had a good time and enjoyed a little bit of the bass playing that was going on. All right, take care, guys.